JP.
Right, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to James Redmond TV and welcome to the first live stream of the week. No live streams this week. Have you missed me? I've missed you more. But breaking news, chat. We've actually got stuff that we need to worry about, I think, because, Saudi are now deciding to do what a Hamez does and flex the muscles. Big up to everybody who's in the chat. We've got some huge news on the midst of this day. Now, as we know, we've just signed Gravenberch, which is great. I love Gravenberch. Up the Gravenberch. Not a 6, but we'll move with it and he'll be fine. But the news today is quite worrying. And listen, it's not anything to be too devastated about right now. But this news to me is like a precursor. It's like a warning, you know what I'm saying? Liverpool reject verbal bid worth more than 100 million plus substantial add-ons from Saudi Pro League to sign Mohamed Salah for ITTIHAD. Proposal made on amicable call to Mike Gordon last night. LFC view as case closed. SPL do not. Now, that's the bit I don't like, chat. Did you hear the scary bit? That's the scary bit. They're using David Ornstein to threaten our asses, chat. They're going to say, well, what about when we bid 200 million, you fucking poor bastards? What about when we bid 250 million? Because, chat, we need to analyse the incentive. Are we ready for a lesson with Hamez? Because I know I am. What's the incentive for Salah to go to Saudi? And then what's the incentive for Saudi bringing Salah? Number one Muslim athlete in the world. Also, if they brought him now, he is there in time, established in that league, all in due course for the Club World Cup, which is what they want. If they can establish themselves on a Club World Cup front and they can get themselves winning that Club World Cup, that is huge. And Mohamed Salah significantly increases your chances of doing such thing. The viewership that you attract is insane. The buzz that it generates is insane. Now let's analyse the incentives for Salah. For those who aren't worried about this, for those who aren't worried at all about, and by the way, did Hamez not or did Hamez do warn you? Did Hamez not or did Hamez do warn you? I do warn you. I did warn you. I always will warn you. Because I remember it started with the 3 weeks ago when Salah's agent came out. And Salah's agent simply said, well, listen, we want to stay at the club. 2 weeks later, information changed where Saudi were now offering Salah the personal terms about how much we're going to pay you, the incentives that you'll receive, all these things. Salah never disagreed or turned down those proposals. People will say, well, it's because of professionalism. Maybe, but it's still not out of the realm of possibility for players to turn down clubs. We saw Caicedo do it with us, you know what I mean? It's not about common courtesy, it's about preference of where you want to be. Caicedo preferred Chelsea. Does Salah prefer to be at Liverpool or ITTIHAD? That's not being made clear. So let's just say that means if it's not turned down, well, that means it's on the table. Therefore, it's being considered. He is considering a move elsewhere. That's got to be how it is, chat. And here's the score. You know Salah hasn't turned down the move. He doesn't have to come out and say himself that he's turned down the move. We know the offer's there. And we also now know that a verbal bid was made to Liverpool. Liverpool then said, we're not going to sell them. To be fair, they've stuck to their guns. 150 million, apparently 150 million according to Sky Sports, but that could be the add-ons included. Chat, I don't think you understand how mad this is. And now we've got to ask the question, okay then, well, 150 million's been turned down and we know Salah is at least considering going to ITTIHAD with the money and all these things. So now we've got to ask, well, what's going to happen in regard? Are they going to bid again? Are they going to keep going? How bad do ITTIHAD want to get Salah? And then what amount will make us budge? That's the question we've really got to ask right now because this is insane proportions. Wait, what? 200 mil up front? Are you guys saying they bid 200 mil or are you guys saying something else? I'm not too sure, but but listen, there's probably going to be more bids. So when does it get to a point where now it's not just a couple of bids, it's more and more bids? And then, because how far are they willing to go to get Salah? They never got Mbappe, but we know they've got the money to get Mbappe, you know? So they've got 200, 300 million there to be able to splash and have fun with. The question is, will they use it? Big up to the chat, though. Pricey says 180 million and add sell. So we are now, people are considering. So now we're roughly around the value that people are happy to sell Salah. If it's 180, if it's 200 million for a 31-year-old, I understand there's no replacement there in time. There's no replacement to be made in time. That being said, chat, I just don't see how FSG turn that down. You know what I mean? And I think that's where it gets worrying. I think it gets worrying because I think Salah might have played his last Champions League game for Liverpool, for instance. I think that's a mad thing to say, isn't it? I do think we're starting to see an end of an era now with Salah. Not even in terms of performances. The numbers speak for themselves. But now we're talking about money. That is fucking wild. And then you've got to ask yourself, how far are they willing to go? And then can we go there with them? Because I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if FSG can get told 200 million and they have the bollocks to sit there and say no. I think that would be like someone in a council house getting offered a mansion. What? Because of sentiment and shit, they're going to keep it? No. Just because the council house has done a job does not mean it's not worth less than does not mean it's worth more than a mansion. Therefore, you're probably moving to the mansion. And the same goes with Salah. That's interesting. That's worrying. And the reason why it worries me is because I know this is one that will show a sign of inferiority if it was to be completed. Salah would move, I think. If I was to make a prediction, I think he would go. I think if Liverpool get a bigger offer than what's being proposed right now, and that's a big if, will Saudi go all the way? I think they could. Bear in mind, today isn't the last day they can get Salah. They've got, I think, another 2-3 more weeks to go and get Salah because their window's longer. So that's important. And there's a lot of worrying factors regarding Saudi right now. So let me know what you all think. But yeah, people are saying 200 or nothing. So people are happy to sell him. From what I'm seeing in the chat, people are happy to sell him. So chat, use it all right with no right winger, even if you get 200 mil, because then that means in January or next summer, that means we can now go ham. You know what I'm saying? So is that your thinking behind it? Is that what you expect them regarding this news? James, there's going to come back with 200 million. Do you think our owners say no to that? See, I don't, Jamie. Jamie, by the way, shout out to Jamie and go subscribe to Jamie. I don't think that. I think that the owners would happily any day of the week accept 200 million. I think if they hadn't been under so much scrutiny in this window, I think we'd see them. I think we'd see the owners accept 150. I do. I think they would. If it was earlier in the window and if it was, without so much scrutiny on the window, I think they'd go out there and take the 150. 200 million, I don't know how you turn that down. Let's see how strong they are to the word that he's not for sale, because he's not for sale until there's an offer that's now worth considering. Maybe 150 million isn't that offer. Maybe 200 million could be. 200 million is a rebuild in itself. And then let's talk about if he did go, is that beneficial or if it's not? I think there's cases if he goes or stays where it's beneficial, and I think the greater good could be if you was going to receive 200 million. Notoriously, even under an FSG regime, if we get a big influx of cash from a transfer, we spend. So when we got the Suarez money, we went and bought 6 or 7 players. They never quite worked out, granted, but then we also went ahead and sold Coutinho, and then we invested greatly. So now if Salah goes to 200 million, think about the investment you can make there, and that would be massive. You can make 4 50 million pound signings, 100 million pound signing, plus the money you would have just spent anyway. And plus we do a lot of 40 million pound transfers, so you could see 4 or 5 new faces coming into this new rebuild, which I think would be beneficial. So I'm not on the side of if he goes, we're over. I'm on the side of if he goes, we're really building this rebuild. This rebuild has come a lot quicker than what we all thought. Because Firmino, like imagine 12 months ago, me telling you Firmino, Henderson, Salah, all these players were going to go. Fabinho, imagine, you'd be like, whoa, that shouldn't have happened so quick. You know what I mean? And it is a little bit emotional and kind of like it wrecks your head. If you're a Liverpool fan right now, you're seeing all of your legends just going one after another quickly, back to back. That's important. And it's worrying, but at the same time, I've been someone who's wanted change for a while, so I'm not saying that like I'd be happy if Salah goes. I wish we could keep him and spend 200 mil, but I understand that's not realistic. So You've got to analyse the either or of everything. You know what I'm saying? Big up to Shane. He says, "Big up Hamez. I'm effing scared, to be honest, lads. Don't be scared, Shane. Don't be scared. Saudi won't come and buy your house or not, and they're just going to buy Salah." Nah, I'm scared as well, Jay. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a little bit worrying. Chat, are you scared about this news? In fact, chat, yes or no, would you sell Salah if 200 million came in? You're lying. You hate Salah. A cryptic 10. That is a false statement. False statement. But you can try and prove the claim that I hate Salah. I don't think I'd be saying the things that I'm saying if I hated him. I certainly don't think I'd be saying if I hated him. It sounds like I'd take 50 million for him. I'm pushing. I'm taking every penny that we can get for Mo Salah. So if you can provide me evidence to support your claim, then feel free. 200 million, 100 down payments. Yeah, that could be a shout. Moo Walker says, one thing's guaranteed, Mo won't get subbed in the next games. Yes, I don't think that... If Salah is deciding to leave because of a substitution on the opening day of the season, no, I don't think that would be... I don't think that's productive at all. And I don't think that's a good mindset. Salah is going nowhere. Stop doomsdaying Hamez for clicks. Okay, then, well, hang on a minute. What's this? This is exclusive news that 100 million plus add-ons. Other reports saying 150 million has come out and put a bid in for Mo Salah. Why is that important and why is that worrying? Now, I'm not saying that you should be scared. If you don't want to be scared, if you don't think there's enough evidence to be scared, then fine, that's great. I know that there's evidence to be scared. In my opinion, what I've seen, David Ornstein and top reporters like Fabrizio Romano coming out and confirming ITTIHAD, who have got endless money, who are now chasing the number one Muslim athlete, who is our player, have put in £100 million offer for him personally, and then £100 million offer plus add-ons to the club. The club have said no. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be another offer, because 2 weeks ago there was no offer. Now there's an offer, and now there could be another offer. I'm predicting there will be. Based on my prediction, I've got a lot to be worried about. You might not have anything to worry about. I'm not fear-mongering anybody. It's not a fear-monger. It's a factual statement. ITTIHAD are trying to get Salah, and Salah hasn't turned down the move to ITTIHAD. So unless you're so confident Salah either turns down ITTIHAD, which he hasn't done yet, or you're confident FSG will turn down ITTIHAD, well, either way, I'm not confident. I don't share that confidence. My confidence is very different to yours, mate. So fair play to you, but I don't understand why you're so just blindly not fearful, unless you want Salah to go, of course. Then maybe that's why you're not asked. Alan Callanan, he says, yeah, if we get 200 million for Salah, we could survive until January. Klopp can move Gakpo to the right and go with Núñez up top. This will allow us to scout a Salah replacement and not panic buy. I suppose it's not the worst thing. It's not the worst idea. And if we do lose Salah, I don't think we go as bad in the attacking sense as what people would maybe think. I'd sell Salah. He's 30 odds. And when are you getting that money for players that age? And it's like when we sold Coutinho, we bought loads of Salah, has fell off, and he can't even dribble or score a pen no more. I think that's too harsh. I do think that's too harsh, but at the same time, I understand what you're saying, I suppose. Big up to Panaskaus. He says, keep him until January. Now it's too late in the window that we can set up a replacement for Jan ourselves. So people are open to it. See, if we're all saying 150 to 200 million and people on Twitter are having the same opinions that the JRTV community is having right now, well, then what does that mean? That means FSG are seeing this. And believe me, guys, if you think that FSG see no incentive of 100 plus million for a 30 plus year old, you are now mistakenly wrong. It's an asset in their business, in their franchise, because that's what we are to them. We're a franchise, just like the way McDonald's is a franchise. We're a franchise to FSG. We're one of their many, many different assets and businesses. And Salah is an asset within an asset. Liverpool's an asset. Salah's a big asset within that asset. And now some fellas coming out and saying, we're going to buy your gold for twice of what it's actually worth. We're going to come and buy your gold for double the money. And you are going to have to say, no, but it's not for sale. Well, how about 3 times the money? When does it get to a point where ITTIHAD say, actually, this dude's not for sale? Because bear in mind, we said days ago he's not for sale. They've still said, fuck that. We're going to call them up and we're going to let them know how much money we're actually talking. Because sometimes you might have an asset and someone says, I'm going to buy the asset, but it's so valuable to you that you're not even willing to discuss it. You'll be like, listen, mate, I'll feel disrespectful even giving you what I want for this, so I'm just going to say no from get-go. Well, actually, I don't think you understand how much money I'm willing to actually offer. This is the second person. I'm actually deadly serious about this. In this case, Saudi have called up Liverpool. They said, hello, sir, by the way, 150 million, and we can work around that in terms of add-ons and whatnot. Consider it, and I'll see it in a bit. Bam. Liverpool say, actually, no, fuck your 150 million. But now it's something to consider. It was like before, it could have been 80, then it could have been 100. Now we're talking 150. What about if it gets to 200? That's massive. That is absolutely massive when it comes to analysing this for what it is. Big up to Rishi. He says, I think players would have left earlier if COVID wasn't an issue and Salah would have gone earlier. I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe you're right. I just don't think that would have been the case at all. Big up to Shane. He says, if Mo goes with no replacement, we officially become a mid-table team battling for Conference League at least until January. Who the fuck does that? Does what Mo can. I disagree, Shane. I disagree. Chat WRL. I don't think we go to a mid-table team. And actually, I don't think we go much worse without Mo Salah. I think he's massively benefited by the system, to be honest. And I think that's why he gets loads of goals. I think that's why he got a decent amount of goals at Roma, but he got a stupid amount of goals at Liverpool. It's because when we're getting into that final third, the ball goes to him. And one thing that Salah's so good at is positioning and awareness. On the ball, I think he's easily replaceable. And I do think he can find someone to score those goals, whether it's somebody who gets 40 goals themselves or whether the goals now get more spread out between Diaz, Nunes, Gakpo, Szoboszlai, McAllister. If the goals get more spread out, you can still get the same amount of goals. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I disagree. I don't think we go mid-table team. Why not agree for January? I don't know. We could do that. I just, if he's going to go, I'd want him to go now. I don't think it's productive having someone as important to the system as Salah here until January, and then in January he goes, and we just now lose one of our most important players for the first 6 months of the season. I think if we're going to go into the season, we should just go into it with knowing Salah is not going to be an option for the most important part of the season when we've got the end of competitions and the end of the Premier League. Imagine if we're in a title race and Salah goes in January. That would be absolutely devastating, especially based on chances and probability that he's going to be one of the top goal scorers at that point. So I've definitely got concerns, and I think people are being brave saying, like, let's just sell him. But I'm not going to lie. Chat, are you ready for let me read this and then I'll let you know my controversial take. Would you sell Salah for 150 million? Would only be an answerable question if we knew every penny of that would be reinvested. If not, if yes, yes. Oh, yeah. If not, no. If yes, yes. I agree, Stuart. I agree. It's a tough question to answer. Now you've got to go based off your presumption in history. Does historicity support that FSG would reinvest the money from a big asset that's being sold? So let me give you two examples. I have got Luis Suarez, who was sold for 70 million, roughly, in that estimate. And then we went and replaced that with not great players, but a big volume of players. Lazar Markovic, 20 million. Alberto Moreno, Ricky Lambert, Mario Balotelli. There was numerous names that season. I'm not trying to scratch your ears out, by the way. I know there's some horrific, fucking horrible names. But that was the first example under an FSG regime. Number two, Felipe Coutinho, a much better regime. We saw Fabinho, Alisson, Van Dijk, all these players come in off the back of that money. And we saw the greater impact. And let's say Coutinho, I think it's fair to suggest Coutinho is now. Chat WRL, Coutinho is then what Salah is now. So Coutinho was the main guy. Salah was only here for 6 months when Coutinho was still here. So Coutinho was still the guy. And if he was the guy, then Salah's the guy now. And that means we probably looked at Coutinho at that time like, we can't replace him. We can't let him go. But he wanted to go. The same way Salah kind of wants to go right now. You know what I'm saying? Which is important. And we got better. And I think there's a possibility where that could happen again. Because now there's room for improvement with Salah going. Because we've dropped off recently. Not because of him. But we now know systematically the team needs changing. If it doesn't get changed, that's an issue, you know what I mean? But I think based on historicity, it supports that FSG will reinvest the money. Maybe not wisely, as we know from the Suarez money, but they're going to reinvest it. So Stuart, for me, if we get 150 to 200 million pounds offer, I'm accepting it. If this was 150 million pounds offer, I would have accepted it. Wait there, chat, once. Sorry, me thing went a bit blurry, and sometimes when you go out and in it, it makes it go back in focus. But the point that I was leading to there is that for me, I would accept 150 million for Salah. I just think there's a greater good there. I don't think there's many short-term benefits, but I think the long-term benefits of selling Salah would be much greater. And it's why I'd at least consider it. You know what I mean? Big up to Rishi. He says there was an article released a few years ago that players like Mane and Salah were part of a sell to buy, but then COVID hit. And maybe I'd have to see the reliability of the article, who wrote the article, and how they analysed and conducted the article. But maybe there was something around that. I disagree, though. I think we never had any intention to sell. There was no examples or clear signs, or at least reliable reports that suggested Salah and Mane was going to go. It didn't seem that way. Also, no teams have came in for Salah and Mane. There's been no official bids until now. ITTIHAD. Big up to Shane. Is there enough time to get a new right winger if we accept? No, I don't think so. Which would be a problem. You can't say that wouldn't be a problem. But yes, I don't think we get a new right winger even if we sold Salah. I just don't think there's anyone there. I know we were briefly linked to Bakayoko, and that's about as far as any legitimate links with a right winger goes. It's all very well saying accept 200 million for Salah, but what's the point of having the money and can't spend it? Transfer window ends in 10 hours. That's right. But at the same time, that money, it's not like you just get that money and it's only available for this window. That money is now available for January. It's available for next window. It's still 200 million plus profit. The question the club have got to ask themselves is, can we sustain a top 4 challenge without Salah? I think that's possible. And I think they would think that's possible. So therefore, I think they'll probably think, well, if it can still get us top 4 and we get 200 mil, why not sell him? We got, why not sell him? And obviously now there's an agency at the club that suggests we need to get a new rebuild sorted, and it's got to be good. 200 million helps out with that. So I understand the worries and the concerns, and I understand because it's not your money, you don't care as much. But I'm thinking of it, if I was FSG, what would I do? And that's why I'm making the predictions of what they're going to do. We won't spend it on the forwards if we sell Salah. They will just promote Ben Doak and use the funds for the defence. Fair. I disagree. I think they absolutely will replace Salah. FSG can possibly recoup what they spent buying LFC by selling one player. This is it. This is the type of wealth that we're talking about here, guys. And you've got to understand, this is Saudi. Saudi can go until 200. They can bid until 250. They're the one in them bidding wars where it's like 200 over there, 500 over there. And he's the guy who keeps putting his fucking hands up. And then it gets to a point where he's the only guy putting his hands up and he's outbidding his own bids. Saudi can do that shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's scary. So people who aren't worried about this, I would be a little bit worried about this. People who say we can't replace Salah, I agree it's going to be hard to replace him. But he's going to go one day. And the likelihood is that one day, that one day will be in the next 24 months. Except if it happens in 24 months opposed to today, we might let him go for free opposed to getting 200 million, which I am sure even you guys understand why that's shit. 200 million is not a little amount of money. I'll tell you that for free. David Hartley, I look at it happily now with our Europa ops. Think more positive. It's a day out for our ops to play at Anfield. Oh, fuck them. Fuck those Wi-Fi passwords. We're gonna absolutely terrorize them all, and then we'll win the Europa League in Dublin. I don't trust the owners. I think if we sold Salah, FSG will just pocket the money and not invest into the club. I don't know how long you've been tuned into the stream. The reason why I disagree is because of the two examples I've already gave you around Suarez and Coutinho. That money was at least reinvested. So it's what made people believe we were a sell to buy. You know what I mean? I absolutely do think we'd replace it. People will then say, like, oh, where's the Fabinho and Henderson money? Well, I think Endo and Gravenberch, at least based on valuation, cover that. Why are we acting like a small club selling our best player on transfer deadline day? Would Real Madrid sell Vinny Jr. with no replacement? Disrespectful bidding today. I hear you. Vinny Jr. is not 31. That's a factor. Vinny Jr. is probably beyond valuation that ITTIHAD could even offer, unless ITTIHAD comes in with £1 billion bid or something. But for a young player like Vinicius Jr., it's completely different to Salah. Salah's 31. And also the financial resources that Real Madrid have in comparison to Liverpool is also night and day. It's just a different example, Jamie. I feel your doubt, brother, in FSG. I feel it. But yeah, It's very different. I think if Salah left, there would be no difference apart from a bid and quick anticipation. I have full faith in Gakpo, Nunes, Diaz, Jota, and Doak to keep our attack fresh and clinical. That's fair. I think we would still need to see one face, but yes, I think that can do a job until January. The club will have a shortlist to replace Salah. They will test the waters in terms of getting a replacement. If not, they will keep Salah. Exactly. Well, maybe that's what they're thinking. They're thinking, well, is there anybody that we can replace him with? And if we can get one, then great. Replacement is the wrong question. Please stop this utter nonsense. You don't replace him. You can't. You change the damn system, which we've got to do anyway. Yeah, my dad is fucking fuming every single stream now. It's funny. John Beggs, James lads, you at the Villa game on Sunday? I'm over for it. Fancy up to you, John. I'm not too sure. I might actually be doing a stream for that game, but if I'm there, brother, shout me, my man. Shout me. I'm usually in Jurgens prior to the game, so big up to you, sir. Big up to Tom Goldsworthy. He says Serge Gnabry is meant to be available. Now you've got to ask, is Serge Gnabry good enough to replace Salah? And in some ways, maybe. Some ways, I don't see it. Me personally, I don't see it in some ways. James, good morning. If Salah buggers off, we have to use Ben Doak, no question. Also, any news on Gravenberch? He's about to complete his medical. Well, he's all about to do his medical, and chances are he'll complete it, and he'll complete a €40 million move to the mighty Reds, which will be great. And we will talk about Gravenberch later on in the stream as well. I'm going to get through these Salah questions and see what you're saying and take it from there. James, we all knew Salah would go this season or next. Even Klopp, I think that's why the shape of the team is evolving to suit Nunes. Yes, I think that's a very good way of putting it. Nunes was someone who was always long-term, I think. I think we thought we could do it short-term, but I think now Klopp's saying, well, let him work on the finite things, let him polish up on a few areas, and then that's where we'll make him the main outlet. And I always struggle to see a team with both Salah and Nunes, but I think the team works if it's just one of them. And I know that's weird. No, actually, that's wrong. This version of Salah can work with Nunes because Salah creates great chances for Nunes. They've got a great relationship in that aspect. But it now lowers the goals that Salah gets. So even though Salah can provide Nunes the chances, now Nunes needs to take the chances for it to be worth moving Salah as a more creative player opposed to an outlet. Does that make sense? So I think Klopp is going to be working on that with Nunes. James, do you think Salah wants to go? And if it's the case, then won't he be unsettled at Liverpool if he continued to reject offers? So now it's weighing up the percentage of how much does he want to go and not want to go. So, for instance, I live in a flat right now, and I really like my flat. It's nice, it's cozy, and it's got everything that I need. But now if you offer me a better flat, even though I'm not desperate to leave this flat, now I'm thinking about moving to this one because I'm thinking it might be a better lifestyle. It's more comfortable, it's bigger, it's more spacious. It'd be beneficial for X, Y, and Z. But then there is the hassle of moving away from here and doing all these things. But it would be nice to have a new flat. So Salah is now considering, well, the home that I'm in is amazing. I'm a legend here. I'm chasing records. I'm still in my prime. Liverpool still have the potential to get back to competing for trophies. I can be a top player in a top European club. That's the benefits. But then now let's analyse the benefits of going to Saudi. Generational wealth beyond belief. You're talking about maybe 8 to 9 years of getting paid the salary that he's getting offered right now, which is 100 million. Also, it's a place where it's more cultural towards Salah. It's a very Muslim, heavily populated Muslim place. I'm trying to name all the incentives possible, but I'm just not doing it well. But there's a massive incentive for Salah to go there. He's a number one Muslim athlete. It will create the most buzz out of any transfer there, in my opinion. I think everybody would be absolutely amazed and made up to see Mohamed Salah if they sign for that club, and they understand what that generates. And then you've got to think of the incentive for Saudi, which is to bring him into the league. But you asked me, does Salah want to go? Well, based on information, what we know, he hasn't turned down ITTIHAD's offer. So all I can say is I don't know. But what I would say is that he is considering the offer because he hasn't turned it down. If it was an offer that was just worth outright refusing, he would have refused it. People will try and rebuttal that by saying, no, it's just common courtesy and he's just trying to be respectful to Saudi by not rejecting it. I disagree. I think it's quite clear. Like Thiago, he rejected Saudi. And he's made it clear he wants to stay at the club, and he could be gone in 12 months. But Thiago said, I want to work with Liverpool. I want to play with Liverpool. Salah said the same thing 3 weeks ago, but then information changed. Information changed when Saudi put the personal terms to Salah, saying, we can offer you this. Now he's thinking, well, if you're going to be offering me all these incentives and all that money, it's hard to turn down. It's life-changing to a whole nother level. And they're probably presenting it in a way that they're saying Saudi will be the biggest league in football in 5-10 years. Who knows? It will be the Super League, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think Salah is considering it, is the point that I'm leading to. I don't know if that means he'll go. I do believe that means he's considering it massively. So yeah, big up to Shane. He says, Saka, I really like and his age on the side homegrown, but Arsenal won't sell. That's right, Shane. That'll be a very, very hard transfer to get over the line for sure. I think that'll be too difficult to make, but hopefully it can happen. I do not know what that says. Salah is not ready for Farmers League. Such a waste of a player still at the top of his game. You say this, but at the same time, I mean, it's still big news. It's still big news that Salah could want to go there. Evolving league, money always talks. Let me ban this guy because this guy is putting in comments that are weird. I think this could be this could be good for the rest of our transfer window. Salah will demand FSG invest. Salah will demand FSG invest in the team, or else he will leave. Yeah, there's definitely a change on the horizon, which is definitely, it's worrying. It's definitely worrying. If Salah starts underperforming and Klopp drops him, how would you start our front three? I'd probably say, I don't know, maybe Diaz is probably most equipped to play the right winger role, but I'm not too sure. But anyway, guys, do you know what? This would be a quality signing. Can't say that name. That's a hard name to say. But guys, I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe and all that business. That's the Salah news, a little bit of breaking news. Hope you enjoyed the stream. And do smash a like on your way out, and I'll be back with more streams, more videos, all in due course. Until then, have a belter. Sayonara. Now I need to do the outro, and I haven't even got anywhere close to the outro. Peace.